within that hour from 10 and 11, my mom contacted us to let us know that my dad had been detained. And I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like everything went into slow motion. I think other than death itself and not having somebody alive, knowing that now your family is going through a whole 360 change. What's coming is what was going through my mind. Kind of just felt like a stab in the heart. And I think as an older sister, my mind just kind of went into older sister mode of, okay, we need to get down there and see what we can do. So I went down to OKC along with my brother-in-law and my sister. First of all, to be there of support for my mom. And second of all, I think in the back of our minds, the mind plays games on you. At least in my mind, I was hoping that once we got to Oklahoma City, I would be able to see my dad physically and that it was all just a bad joke or a mistake or I don't know. I thought that once I got to Oklahoma City, I would be able to see him. Unfortunately, that was not the case. He was detained. All that day Tuesday, all of the day Wednesday, even early Thursday morning. I think it was the worst pain of all, not knowing where he was at, not knowing anything about him. You hear so many stories about, people going missing, people being abused, people being mistreated, and at least in the back of my mind, that's all I kept thinking. I kept thinking he was cold. I kept thinking he probably wasn't eating. I kept thinking he was all alone. And we couldn't locate him on the detainee website. So every time I would look him up, nothing. When we finally did get a hold of him and we were able to locate him, turned out that he was already at the consulate in Mexico, and in less than 48 hours, they had thrown him on the other side of the country. And that was another pain. For me, at the least, I was relieved to know that he was alive. And that in all the chaos, it gave me a little bit of a hope and a little bit of peace of knowing that he was okay, that he wasn't going through the worst, that he wasn't going to be in pain or hurting in any way. But I was sad because now he was in a country that he doesn't know anymore, in a city where he doesn't have anybody, much less us as daughters, as family. We don't have anybody there for him. He had no money. He had nothing with him. So then it got scary because in a way I had to go into parental mode of my father is now somewhere where he has nobody and I need to figure out how I can help him. I don't even know how I did it or when. Honestly, that whole Thursday morning, this past week, it has been a blur. I feel like I'm in and out. But I was able, through a friend who has family down there, I contacted her and a stranger because, we don't know him. A stranger picked up my father. He fed my father and he let my father stay there for the night while we figured out other arrangements for him. And that was also scary and nerve-wracking for us because it was a stranger, He could have easily held my father hostage and and asked us for money, and we would have lost all contact. Like, that would have been a whole other issue. Thankfully, this person turned out to be a very kind man, a very humble man that opened the doors of his home and allowed my father to be there until we found somewhere else for my dad to be. And now he's in Mexico, and we're here.